Hi everybody, I'm Hubsmash, and welcome to The Witcher 3. So I wanted to go over some of the settings and some of the things that I'm using to get the best experience possible in this game. You can see here I'm fighting some wolves, and it's running pretty smoothly, right? I'm on pretty much ultra settings. So I'll just go over some of the specs, the minimum specs, the recommended specs, and then I'll go over what I'm playing with and some of the settings that I modified. So for minimum specs, it's Intel Core i5-2500K at 3.3 gigahertz, or an AMD Phenom 2 X4 940. 6 gigs of RAM, GeForce 660 or equivalent, and DirectX version 11. The recommended, though, is the Core i7-3770, 3.4 gigahertz, or the FX 8350 at 4 gigahertz. It recommends 8 gigs of RAM, and a 770 or above. And so what I'm running this game on is an i7-4790K at 4 gigahertz. I don't use turbo boost right now because I'm using the stock cooling and it gets too hot. And I'm also using a ASUS GTX 970 Strix overclocked edition. I have it overclocked up to 1300 megahertz, and the memory at, I think, 7050. And so some of the settings I've done to kind of optimize a little bit is the HBAO. So in post-processing in the menu, I took HBAO and took that off, put on SSAO for ambient occlusion. All the other post-processing is left on, anti-aliasing included. And then in the actual graphics options, there's one special setting I want to make note of, and it's the most impactful setting, I think, in all of them. And it's the nVidia Hairworks. Now, I'm hoping you can see it from this video, but the wolves, do you see their hair? It looks great. And the reason it looks so great is because of this Hairworks technology. It really does impact FPS very heavily, though. Like 10, 15 FPS difference when there's a bunch of hair on the screen, such as, you know, Geralt's hair, or wolves, other monsters, the horses, etc. But it looks really, really good. The monsters look noticeably worse without the nVidia Hairworks on. So I definitely recommend putting that on if you have a 970 or above. I'm not sure how it would run on the 960. It might be okay, but experiment with that, because it will drastically increase or decrease your FPS based on what you're doing. I also dropped down the shadow detail to high, the foliage density to high, and the foliage distance to high. The ultra settings hurt the FPS fairly significantly on the foliage. I'm not too sure about the shadows, but I noticed no difference between high and ultra on the shadows, and very little noticeable difference on the foliage, but a pretty drastic increase in FPS. When I'm just running around and playing, I'm getting about between 55 to 60 FPS. And then in cutscenes, I think because of the depth of field effect, and when it's in a kind of a cinematic and there's a bunch of depth of field and blurring on the detailed objects, I think that's what's causing the reduction in there. But I'm okay with a cinematic being a little bit slower. I don't experience really much slowdown, or any really at all. I don't notice any texture pop-ins when I'm flying around on my horse. I don't notice any issues, so I'm going to keep it how it is. And I just wanted to share this to let you guys know what the optimal settings are for a rig that's kind of like mine. Another thing that's worth mentioning is that I was experiencing crashes on occasion when I entered the game menus, the, you know, bestiary or the inventory, things like that. What I ended up doing was reverting back. I had installed the game ready Witcher 3 drivers for my GTX 970, and it was causing issues, I think. I was able to revert back to the 350.12 Grand Theft Auto 5 game ready driver, and I haven't experienced a crash since then. What would happen was it would crash and it would keep playing the audio, but I would have to end the task. It didn't blue screen or anything, but it seemed like the display driver stopped working because sound was still working, right? So the game, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But reverting to the older edition of the driver did seem to help. So I wanted to include that for you guys. If you like this video, click that like button. And if you want to see more Witcher 3, I've got a lot of stuff planned. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see from The Witcher 3. And, you know, I hope you guys have a wonderful time playing this game. It's amazing. I've played through a few hours of it so far. I'm not going to do a let's play of it because it's just so big that I just feel like it would just take forever. Just forever. I've heard that the game is over 100 hours of gameplay, and that's just... I can't commit to recording all of that. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Take care.